My entitled mother organized me and my boyfriend's vacation without our permission, booking us 2 nights at a 5-star hotel for hundreds of dollars that we definitely do not have. And now she's demanding that we pay her back for the hotel that we never asked for. And now I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So my boyfriend and I had been planning to go on a vacation this summer for my birthday. He has been studying. So meanwhile, I was in charge of looking for affordable places to stay for a few nights, maybe even a week. I asked my mom to help me with the booking since she knows a lot of affordable places. The problem takes place a few days later, where she paid for a booking for 2 nights in a 5-star hotel that cannot be canceled without telling me or my boyfriend about it beforehand and expects us to repay her. We didn't even know the schedule or the name of the hotel up until she already paid for it, and we wanted a cheaper place to stay for a few more nights. The hotel is very, very nice, and she did not tell us a word about it. She chose for us without our permission, and now we have to pay her when we wanted to choose and pay for a place ourselves. The price is about $350, and she told us she's helping us with approximately $100, but we still have to pay her for $250. While I understand she wanted to have a nice detail, we are spending our money for a plan that she liked and a plan that she did not discuss with us, so it now feels like her vacation and not ours. Her actions don't make any sense, and they seem disrespectful to my boyfriend and myself. I don't understand the purpose for all this. I will give her the benefit of the doubt and assume that she lightheartedly wanted us to have a nice vacation, but I'm still very mad we didn't get to choose, and on top of that, we have to pay her. Last night, I asked her where I could get the money from, and she told me that I should save up the money that my dad gives me, because he does owe me money after all. While this is not a bad response, she then told me that if my dad gives me, for example, $20, I should then save up that money, give her $15 to progressively pay for the hotel, and keep $5 for myself. It seems incredibly sketchy. She's demanding a big part of my money that my dad gives me, and it seems to be a reoccurrent theme in my life. She reasonably hates my dad. He is not the best either, but it seems she wants to control his money through me. What should I do? Honestly, the way your mom is acting is absolutely crazy. She not only decided what hotel you're going to, but she also picked like the most expensive one possible, and then she bought it without even asking you first. And then she circles back around and says, hey, your dad gives you money, give me some of that money. And it really does seem like this was all some kind of scheme just to try and get her dad's money, and all because she hates him. Also, if I'm going to be asked to pay that much money, you better believe I'm going to be asking for receipts. I need some kind of written receipt or something that proves that she even bought this hotel in the first place. Because who's to say that she didn't really buy this hotel room and that she's instead just using that to try and get money out of you? I mean, if she's weird enough to buy a hotel without asking you first, who's to say that she wouldn't try this as well? If I was in your shoes, I would not accept that hotel at all. That is honestly a lot of money for a hotel, and to me, that just seems ridiculous. And you're 100% right. There are cheaper hotels well within your budget that you can go to and still have fun on your vacation. Because at the end of the day, it really does sound like she just wants your father's money. And it really seems like in a roundabout way that this is just some kind of convoluted plan to try and get his money. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. My boyfriend downloaded Tinder without me knowing and claims that he's using that to try and make friends with people in the area. And at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. So my boyfriend and I have been dating for a year and 4 months. Definitely my longest relationship, and honestly, I believed I would marry him someday. He works overseas, so I don't see him for about 8 months out of the year. Other than missing him, it never really bothered me because I trusted him completely, and I was willing to go through long distances just for him. I should also clarify that we dated for 11 months before he moved overseas, so we did date normally for a long period of time before his work got in the way. Yesterday, he sent me a screenshot of something in his phone, and I happened to notice a Tinder notification. When I first questioned him about it, he lied and said it was a Reddit notification. I obviously knew that it was a lie because I am a Redditor, and I know what those notifications look like. Later on, he came clean about lying and said that he downloaded Tinder and made a fake account using some random picture he found on Instagram and was just using it to make friends because he was lonely. Now, granted, I understand that working alone in a foreign country can get lonely, and it is nice to have someone to console you and talk to, but for the last week, he hasn't spoken to me much because he was incredibly busy. Now, I completely understood that because he has a very demanding job, but I'm incredibly hurt that he couldn't find the time to talk to me, but instead found the time to download Tinder, as well as make a fake account and then match and talk to random people, and those random people just so happen to be women. I have no issues with him having friends. In fact, I try to encourage him to get out and meet people our age, as well as enjoy himself overall, but I do have a problem with him trying to meet friends on an app that has an algorithm that is designed to match you with people who you are likely to be attracted to and want to have a relationship with. There there are many applications that are designed with a purpose of making friends, and if not solely to make friends in and of itself. I'm honestly just super hurt. I don't know what to feel, and I don't know if I should believe him at this point. He's never given me a reason not to trust him, but in the last while, he made comments that now, looking back, are incredibly suspicious, but at the time I just brushed it off. Another strange thing is that he recently also downloaded Snapchat. He's had it before, but deleted it, because he isn't really the social media type, but now he's got it since he's been overseas again, and he doesn't even snap me, like, at all. So honestly, do you think he's cheating on me? Or is it possible for guys to have Tinder and download it for innocent reasons? What should I do? Gotta be honest, this does not look promising. Your boyfriend downloaded Tinder. Tinder is not an application to make friends. It's an application, in his case, to hook up with women. So when he says he's using it to make friends, I honestly think he's lying. Why would your boyfriend who's in a relationship download Tinder if he wasn't trying to entertain that loneliness? I mean, seriously, you don't see him for 8 months out of the year. So either your boyfriend is being trustworthy and loyal towards you, or he's dating behind your back on an application that you're just now finding out about. And also, don't forget he straight up lied to you about what the application was in the first place. He tried to say it was a Reddit notification, and that clearly was not the case. You know the difference, you know what those two notifications look like, and he lied to you and said it was something that it wasn't. And that, in my opinion, is a giant red flag. Not just that he's on Tinder, like overall, but also that he lied about having it in the first place. That seems like a very disloyal thing to do, and in my opinion, it definitely seems like he's using Tinder as well as Snapchat to basically go behind your back and start dating. So I don't blame you for feeling suspicious, because the way he's acting and the things he's doing is super sketchy, and you absolutely do not deserve to have a boyfriend like that at all. My father offered to pay $10,000 towards my future wedding, but now that it's time for the wedding to actually happen, he's turning his back on me and my partner, claiming that the gravy train has lost the station and that I missed my chance to get that money. And at this point, I'm seriously thinking about uninviting him to my wedding. Here's what happened. So back in 2020, my father's partner offered us $10,000 for our wedding, saying that they'd done the same for my sister's wedding and we could use it on a wedding or a honeymoon. My father and his partner are both wealthy, and this represents less than 1% of their estate. And it was super nice to hear from them at the time. Due to the pandemic and regulations against gatherings, we canceled our wedding in 2020, but have been talking about picking it back up in 2023 or 2024. During that time, we've also moved to a new state, and I've been doing really well at work, adding about $220,000 to my wealth in the last 3 years. They've become semi-retired since then, selling a business and moving to the countryside. I asked them about the $10,000 recently, and they stated something along the lines that this is off the table and that the gravy train is over. With my jump in savings and income, I really don't need the $10,000 to accomplish a wedding, but I have a sour taste in my mouth because for starters, it was promised to us, and it's reported that my sister got the same deal. Also, they're spending extravagantly on other things in their life and have a $30,000+ monthly budget. So it's not that they can't afford it, but just changed their mind suddenly. Also, my mother did something similar, promising me my mattress from high school when I moved out post-college and later going back on it. It is their money, and they could do with it however they please. But in response to this, I'm tempted to not invite them to the wedding, especially since they'd be states away anyways. What should I do? Well, I can't say much on whether or not you should invite them to the wedding. That literally is up to you and your partner. But when it comes to the money, it's pretty obvious that they are absolutely using that as some kind of power trip. That very clearly was obviously never on the table to begin with, and they only said that in the beginning, probably to try and gain some kind of favor. The original poster goes on to explain that their dad left their mom when they were only 2 years old. They also didn't see their father from the age of 2 all the way up to 18, and he minimized child support through pay manipulation as a small business owner. So overall, this guy just does not sound like a winner in the slightest. He sounds like a massive piece of garbage, and the way he's acting is probably what your mom had to put up with for most of her marriage. So honestly, I would not get my hopes up for that $10,000. Your father was probably never going to give it to you in the first place, and I know if I was in your shoes, I would find so much peace with just moving forward with my wedding, regardless of whatever money your father chooses to give or not give. I overheard my boyfriend say that he chose the wrong girl, even though we've been together for almost 8 years now, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. So for context, my boyfriend and I have been together for a total of 8 years. We met between mutual friends while I was still in school, and he had just moved to my town to go to college. We were friends for 2 years before we started dating. The reason for this was because, for one, I was too scared to make a move, and secondly, he was in love with one of our mutual friends. After she got a boyfriend, he moved on to liking me, and we've been dating ever since. Last Saturday was his birthday, and he had told me that he has never been thrown a surprise birthday party and would like to experience one. I worked all week before Saturday, his birthday, planning and inviting people over, as well as getting reservations, buying a cake, and and then some. I asked his best friend to hang out with him for most of the day so that I could set up and get everyone here and hide for the surprise. The birthday party was a success and he was smiling the whole time. He had snuck off with one of his best friends somewhere and I wanted to find him so that we could sing happy birthday and cut the cake. As I was walking down the hallway, I heard him and his friend talking, so I kept walking towards their voices. I then heard him tell his friend that he should have kept trying with our mutual friend. He told him that he should have been the man that was engaged to her and not her now fiance. He said that he hated waking up to me and that he wished that our mutual friend was the one that threw him his surprise birthday party. He said that he felt disgusted every time he had to kiss me or simply just to hold me because he knew that our mutual friend should be in his arms instead. He said that he felt like he was stuck in our relationship and that he would end up having to marry me. He said that our mutual friend was better than me in looks from head to toe, and she was the most gorgeous girl he'd ever seen. I went back to the party and I told everyone that I couldn't find him and that we would have to wait for him to come back. When he came back, he gave me a hug and a kiss on the head and told me that he loved me. I didn't want to ruin his party, so I just went along with it. He doesn't know that I know he doesn't honestly love me. I've just been going along with everything. I honestly don't want to break up with him. I just want to know how I can make him fall in love with me. I don't know what I did to make him feel so unhappy, so I would like to know, how do I make my boyfriend fall in love with me, or should I just give up on our relationship? He is the first boyfriend I've ever had, and I'm scared to start dating again at my age. First off, this is an awful situation, and this is even worse considering the fact that he is doing this on his birthday. And not only that, but the surprise birthday party that you literally just got done planning. Like, you went through all this trouble to set up these decorations, to invite his friends and family over, to try and make this a special day for him. I mean, seriously, what an absolute scumbag. If he really felt this way about you for such a long time, he should have stopped dating you like, I don't know, 6 years ago. They've been together for 8 years, and this guy has clearly never gotten over this other girl. Like, that is insane to me. What an absolute piece of garbage. And to answer the original poster's question, you can't make him fall in love with you again. I mean, Pandora's box is opened, and I don't think you're going to be able to close that anytime soon. You now know exactly how he feels about you. All of your efforts and all of your love that you have given to him clearly has not meant anything to him, and he's been lying to you this entire time. I mean, just look at the way he came back to the party. He hugged you and gave you a kiss on the head and said that he loves you, but you know for a fact that now that's all rubbish. He seriously doesn't mean that, and everything he says just can't be taken as truth. This guy just confided in one of his friends that he doesn't love you, and I know that's hard to hear, but that is something you need to accept and start the process of moving on. For me personally, that would be a deal breaker. If I found out my significant other didn't actually love me after 8 years together, there's no way I would want to stick around. Because for me, staying along with that to try and make it work and try and get him to fall in love with me again would be a really sad state of affairs, and I think I respect myself enough to know when there's a lost cause in this case, and I know that I would deserve a lot better than that. And so do you. You do not deserve this in the slightest. So with whatever you decide to do, hopefully it works out for you specifically, because your boyfriend has made it very clear that he does not love you, and that is just patently not fair for you, and you seriously deserve so much more. Am I the jerk for not allowing alcohol at my wedding? So I am getting married May of next year. I'm currently planning the reception and have already secured a venue. I was having a discussion with my friend about possible food options, such as catering or cooking, as well as what types of food. Are we going to have a buffet style or will it be served, etc. And my mother and one of my aunts were also visiting. They threw in some thoughts and some advice, as they've had weddings, which I really did appreciate. The topic of drinking came up, and my aunt asked what kind of cocktails we'd be serving. I told her we wouldn't be serving alcohol at the wedding, and when I said this, she was shocked. And then she asked what everyone else was going to drink. I told her there would be water, sweet tea, lemonade, fruit punch, as well as soda available for the masses. My aunt said that having soda was a bad idea because it's so unhealthy, and so is sweet tea, on top of overly sugary lemonade and fruit punch. I told her if she was so concerned about sugar content, she could probably just stick with water, and we're planning on having plenty of fresh fruit, which she could add to it if she wants to spice it up. We'd also have unsweet tea for my diabetic family members, or they're welcome to request or bring a desirable alternative. She then asked why alcohol could not be a request. I told her I simply didn't want to serve any at my wedding. My fiance and I would be financially responsible for the purchase, with alcohol being frankly out of our budget, and we would feel responsible for everybody else's actions that did drink. She asked if she and the other drinkers of the family could bring their own beer, and said it really wouldn't be a party without one. I said no, again, because it's my wedding, and my fiance and I would feel responsible for drunk guests. We also want to have a wedding that's fun and happy, because everyone there loves each other and is happy to celebrate their family and our union. She said it was already a shame I wasn't getting married in a church, and the least I could do was make up for it with a good reception. I then told her that if she can't go one evening evening without drinking, then maybe she's the one with a problem. At this point, my mom jumped in and told me I need to apologize, but I said no. I don't appreciate how my aunt has spoken to me and she needs to leave. They end up going, but my aunt complained the next day on Facebook saying I'm gonna have a dry wedding and said that she wasn't going to torture herself driving an hour and a half just to make it to my venue and have a bad time. She also explained how the conversation went the day before and said I called her a drunk for being healthy. I've been getting a lot of messages, some supportive and some people on the fence, and some very angry that I want to ruin a good reception by acting like it's the Prohibition era. I'm honestly confused here and I seriously don't know what to do. First off, I want to say that I don't think you're the jerk in this situation. You put it best, this literally is your wedding, and if your aunt doesn't like it, well guess what, she could just not show up. You have every right to say that no, you are not going to have any alcohol at your wedding reception, and that is literally where it ends. It's also really telling of the kind of person that she is, that she would go on Facebook and start trashing your plans for your wedding. Like she literally went out of her way to act like this and try to paint herself as the victim of something that really just didn't happen. If anything, your aunt was being really obnoxiously pushy about this alcohol thing and also implied that this wedding would not be worth going to if there wasn't some kind of drink afterwards. So I would not be bothered by what she's saying in the slightest. This is your wedding, and if you don't want alcohol to be served at this wedding reception, then guess what? That's not gonna happen, and other people are just gonna have to deal with it. Am I the jerk for telling my fiance's parents that they are not welcome at our house? So I'm getting married in September to my fiance by the name of John. John is not his real name. We've been dating for about 3 years and engaged for 1. We just got a new home a month ago, and we could not be happier. It's like our life is coming together piece by piece. The major issue is that we live 3 blocks away from my future mother and father-in-law. I think they are nice people, and they've always treated me like family, but they are very intrusive. They will come over unannounced, bring over food while I'm planning to cook. His dad will come on my days off to fix things. On the surface, this all sounds nice, and it is. I am grateful for their help. They are always over though. I see them every other day. We have dinner with them 3 times a week at least. His mom even offered to do my laundry. His dad calls at 11:30 p.m. I mean, the list goes on. This is all so sweet, but my God, I want to take care of my man. I want to cook for him and be his partner. I feel like I'm living in an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. My fiance understands why I get upset, but him and his siblings are close with his family. There are 5 kids and they all love seeing the parents daily. Again, it's nice, but they are always over. We try to set boundaries, but they never work. The other day, his mom dropped off dinner while I was literally cooking, and I said that she needs to leave. I told her that she needs to let me do my thing and she needs to bring the food home and stop doing this. When I said this, she looked devastated. I felt so bad after that, but I snapped. My fiance was furious. One of my sister-in-laws texted me and said that I'm a jerk. I tried to apologize, but my future mother-in-law just wasn't having it. I feel like I messed things up for the rest of my marriage, as well as the relationship I have with my in-laws. And now I'm the daughter-in-law with the attitude in the family. So am I the jerk for setting boundaries and telling them not to show up? What should I do? Honestly, this is not an in-law problem in my opinion. This is absolutely a fiance problem. Your fiance is clearly not on board with your boundaries, and your family is clearly able to overstep them because of your fiance. Like, this is not your family. If it was your family coming over every single day and it was bothering you, you could tell them straight up that you don't want them there, that you want them to step away and give you some room. The fact that your fiance is not on board with this shows a lack of maturity on his end as opposed to anything that you've done wrong. It's not fair in the slightest, and honestly, John needs to be better. So I don't blame you for snapping. I don't blame you for being like, please leave us alone. Let me take care of my own family for once, and maybe, I don't know, call once in a while before coming over. And at first, there was probably nothing wrong with having people over. I can understand how that might be fun at first, but eventually that would probably drive me nuts. Constantly having people running my house and running my kitchen, bringing food over when I'm literally trying to make food for myself and my fiance. Like, seriously, if there's anybody that's the jerk, it's your fiance for not setting boundaries with his parents. So hopefully all of this can get resolved, because your fiance absolutely should have stepped up to the plate. And the fact that he was absent in this decision making honestly shows that he's at fault and not you in the slightest. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out in the description below and subscribe.